this whole thing by Jack Smith, I mean, I've seen weak. This is beyond weak. This is an attack on political speech, I don't know what they're trying to make. They're trying to make, spin straw into gold or something. This is a joke. This case, there's nothing here. The left is all going, oh, there's nothing here. Or am I missing something?
You're not missing something on this latest case. This latest case, again, makes the government is supposed to follow the Constitution. The Constitution is a limit on the exercise of government power. And here, the former president was engaging in freedom of speech, and not just speech, but the most protected speech that the Constitution protects, and that's, political speech. And so you've got that going on here in a case that may have, some stronger evidence. We now learn, as it's being reported, that the due process clause is probably being violated as well, because the Constitution, says that every citizen gets due process, when the government tries to take away their liberty. As part of that due process, the government has to provide to a person that's charged with the crime all exculpatory evidence that it has in its possession. And now we're learning that in the case where the government is alleging that he had classified documents that he shouldn't have, that they had not turned over, all that exculpatory, evidence. And so, when it comes to government power, the people have this great thing called the Constitution that says, government, if you're going to come after me and take away our liberty and try and put us in prison, you've got to use due process. And if you don't do that, you're violating the Constitution. You can't violate the free speech clause of the Constitution. And we're seeing left and right every day now government prosecutors weaponizing the justice system, and then along the way saying we don't have to follow those rules. Maybe we're special or something. I don't know. It's a dangerous time in this nation.
Words are violence, William. Words, no, they're not. People getting punched in the nose. Ask Mike Tyson. That's violence. Words are not violence, and that's the problem in this country. Sticks and stones will break my bones. Words will never hurt me. We used to say that as kids all the time. And say whatever you want. It's a free country. We don't hear that much anymore, William, because people like this are attacking free speech. My God, I saw police officers in Wisconsin handcuff and drag away an 18-year-old kid who was standing on a public sidewalk preaching from the Bible, while 100 yards away, men dressed up as women did drag queen story hour or something. He was in there talking about reading a Bible verse. He got dragged away after getting roughed up by the police in Watertown, Wisconsin. What an utter embarrassment to this country. Honestly, the criminalization of free speech. Your thoughts?
Well, what I think is happening is you've got these, especially on the left, these government authorities that have looked around the world, and they've seen in places like Europe and in Venezuela and in Cuba that, hey, if somebody says something the government doesn't like, the government just effectively, shuts it down by putting them in jail for what they're saying. The problem is in this nation, we still live in the United States of America. And in the United States of America, you have a constitution that delegates power to the government and then limits that power and says, government, if you do that in this nation, it's you that are going to be held accountable. And so what we need now more than ever is we need the press, number one, out there to start reporting the truth and start covering some of these constitutional violations. They may agree, with the government side of an issue here, but what they need to start doing very quickly is saying, well, hey, just because I agree that the government has a position that I agree with, and I don't like the position of the person that they're, going after, at some point, the Constitution has to be more important than, getting your political agenda passed. And we're in, again, a very dangerous time in this country if we do not hold government accountable when they say, hey, we no longer have to abide by the First Amendment free speech. We no longer have to abide by the Fifth Amendment or the 14th Amendment due process clause, where we give due process to people before we put them in jail. And so, we got to stop, pretending that we're Venezuela or even Europe, where, the government basically, or Canada, where the government gets to put somebody in jail if they disagree with, the viewpoint of the person, talking.